I believe that is verse 5. He said, you made him a little lower than heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor. And not only that, in verse 6, he said, you made him ruler over all the works of your hands. Wow. And you put everything under his feet. Wow. Isn't that incredible? God made man and gave him incredible spirit and incredible authority. And that authority was to enforce and to actualize man's freedom. And then he went on in verse 7, he said, all the flocks and herds and the beasts of the field, the birds of the air and the fish of the sea, all that swim the path of the seas. Oh Lord, our God, how majestic is your name upon the earth. So, God made us to be free. Not only did he make us to be free, but he didn't make us to be free and then live in fear. There is no freedom when you are afraid. Freedom is when you are totally free of fear. And God made man, put him in the garden, and man was absolutely free of fear. God's plan still stands. Man is made to be free. That's the reason why every time you feel some sort of oppression, some sort of control, or someone trying to dominate you, somebody trying to force you to say what you want, to say what they want you to hear, that's absolutely ungodly. That's ungodly. That's the reason why when you see people and you're afraid and you can't speak your mind, it's absolutely ungodly. God actually wants you to be free, to be independent, and to be yourself. He puts within you his spirit, and you are supposed to enjoy that freedom. Now, the only person that you submit to, and he is not really a tyrant, is God. He's not a tyrant. He doesn't force his will on you. It's even amazing that when God made man, he gave him the freedom to choose against him if he wanted. Of course, and Adam chose against God, but he had the freedom. He had to be given that freedom to choose what he wanted. God has given us absolute freedom. Actually, you can be what you want to be. You can decide what you want to be. You can actually work towards achieving desires of your heart. For us as Christians, we always believe that God has a purpose for our lives. And all you need to do is discover that purpose and begin to work towards it. And many people actually walk into their purpose unknowingly, because certain conditions are in place and they just walk into their destiny, what we call destiny, or into their purpose, and without even knowing that is God's plan. So absolutely, it's really important for us as Christians to understand that. And even if you are not a Christian, you need to understand that God made us and gave man dignity. That's the reason why he made man in his image. And that dignity and that intellectual capacity, that will and strength of mind, they are all the things that enforce man's freedom. They enforce man's freedom. They give man, put man in a place where he can enjoy and be that person and be that thing that God wanted him to be. So you don't have to, again, like we said, you don't have to wait for someone to tell you are free. It's not, otherwise you are in prison. And many people have put themselves in prison by themselves. Not because God put them in prison. Many people have lost confidence in themselves and they have to look for approval somewhere. That's why people go into certain habits, for example, drugs and alcoholism, because when you lose your dignity, your self-worth, when you lose the understanding that you are made with great dignity and that you don't depend on people, actually, you don't have to find approval from people to fulfill God's plan for your life. When you lose sight of that, you begin to seek for approval from people. How many women have suffered abuse? How many women had to, let themselves be abused and let their bodies be totally abused in order just to earn some sort of approval? And how many people have to become junkies, live by drugs and be high all the time so they can escape their feeling of inadequacy? Because all of us human beings are made inadequate. Everyone has vulnerability. Everyone. I don't care who you are, and I don't care how intellectually sound and powerful and how wealthy you are. You know, every human being has some vulnerability. There's something that makes you feel like you are not perfect, you are not okay. You know, even the most beautiful beauty model will still feel that I wish that my nose was like this, or my lip was like this, and oh, I am like this. That's why they go to do facial uplift or some sort of bodily uplift, you know, because they are not upgraded, because they are not satisfied with how they look. You can never be in this flesh. You can never be satisfied with all that you look. That's why some of the greatest, in fact, all tyrants in the world were very inadequate people who were very conscious of their inadequacy. And they used terror and fear to put people under so that they can thrive, you know. So, listen, if you are not able to rise to a particular place, it's actually not because God doesn't want you to get there. And it's not even because people hate you. It's basically because you have lost sight of the dignity that God made you with. We are endowed with personal dignity, with great intelligence, which is the capacity to enforce the freedom that God gave us. And you know, again, apart from that, God puts great desires in our hearts. You have great desires. You love things. You love certain things. There are certain things you really, really love. You love to be in certain places, you know. We're going to look at that. We're going to see that, you know, shortly when we come back from break. And also at the second part of this show, I have a video here of a former Navy SEAL who rose from kind of ashes to really become a Navy SEAL. He has a personal testimony. I don't know if he's a Christian, but actually this story kind of lays emphasis on what we are talking about. And I tell you, don't go away. At the middle of the hour, we will have him here speaking. So please don't go away. I'll be right back after this break.
Seven on television and streaming platforms. Everything that's reported on television isn't always true, but it should be. NTD, the power of truth. Now available 24/7 on television and streaming platforms.
Okay, welcome back. I'm really glad, and I bless God for your life. Thank you so much for being there with us. So we are talking about freedom, the freedom to be, you know. Like I said, man is endowed with freedom from creation. Or if you choose, man is endowed with freedom from birth. You came with some great freedom, and God made you to be free. God made you to be free, free to be who you want to be, free to be where you want to be, and free to do what you want to do. For example, you should be free to marry the woman that you want if you're a woman, or the man that you want if you are really a woman. Why? Because, I mean, you have the freedom to choose, you know. You have the freedom to choose. You have to, nobody should intimidate you. Nobody should. Of course, don't marry someone who is going to be destructive to your life, or someone who is going to be abusive on you. But however, you should have freedom. I mean, we always encourage Christians, because it's biblical, that you marry someone who is godly, someone who fears God, someone who loves God as you do. You know, it's very important for your faith and also for your safety. In the same way, also, we say that even if you are not a Christian, you got to marry someone positive. You got to marry someone who will love you, appreciate you. You got to marry someone not out of desperation, not for security reasons, But marry someone that you love, someone that you appreciate, someone that will appreciate you in return, someone with whom you will live for a very long time together, probably till death do you part. That's really absolutely important. It's a freedom. You can choose. You can actually choose, you know. You can choose. You should never be pressed, never be under